The term neighborhood crip shows up a lot in headlines. The term neighborhood crip shows up a lot in lyrics. The term neighborhood crip shows up a lot in court cases. So let's break down what it actually means. I'm talking about a family of sets inside the larger Crips organization, rooted in Los Angeles. The Crips themselves emerged in the late 1960s and early 70s, mainly in South Central LA, as loose crews of young black men banding together, shaped by segregation, disinvestment, and tense policing. Founders like Raymond Washington and later Stanley Tookie Williams helped the identity solidify: blue colors, certain hand signs, and a name that spread block by block. Very quickly, Crips weren't one group. They were many sets tied to specific streets or housing projects. That's where neighborhood Crips come in. Sometimes written NHC, neighborhood, or neighborhood, this label differentiates them from other Crip branches, like the Gangster Crips. The neighborhood side includes well-known sets such as the Rollin Neighborhood Crips, the 55 Neighborhood Crips, and others that carry that Rollin or numbered street identity. Why the split? Geography and alliances. LA gangs are hyper-local. A few blocks can define whether you're aligned, neutral, or in conflict. Over time, neighborhood Crip sets develop their own alliances with fellow neighborhood sets, and rivalries with gangster Crip sets, Hoover criminals, and of course long-standing Crip blood conflicts. It's messy, it shifts, and it doesn't always follow the simple Crips versus Bloods story people expect. The 1980s crack era poured gasoline on all of this. New money, new guns, heavier policing, and mass incarceration turned local beefs into bigger, deadlier cycles. Some neighborhood Crip sets expanded beyond LA, carried by migration, music, and illicit networks to cities across the U.S. Law enforcement responded with gang injunctions, federal RICO cases, and targeted units. Sometimes that lowered violence, sometimes it displaced it, or swept up people who were more peripheral than the paperwork suggested. Culture amplified the image: graffiti, fashion, sports affiliations, and especially music. But the aesthetics, blue rags, block names, can overshadow the reality. We're talking about neighborhoods with long histories of redlining, job loss, and underfunded schools. That context doesn't excuse violence. It explains why groups rooted in protection and identity can harden into organizations that commit serious crimes. Where is it now? Many neighborhood Crip sets still exist, but the map keeps changing. New truces, new feuds, and waves of prosecutions. At the same time, there are community-led interventions, credible messenger programs, and ceasefire campaigns that reduce shootings without romanticizing gang life. The most effective efforts tend to combine opportunity, jobs, housing, and education, with focused deterrence and trusted local voices. If you're trying to understand neighborhood Crip, think less about a single hierarchy and more about a cluster of street-based identities under the Crip umbrella, anchored to place in history. It's a reminder that what looks like a monolith is really a mosaic of blocks, families, losses, and choices. Stay curious, stay safe, and if you want a deeper dive, look up credible violence interruption programs and oral histories from the neighborhoods themselves. Context is everything.